There you go.
There we go.
We're back, everybody, and it's a Halloween edition. Now the man underneath the spacesuit, not Trevor. We have Ricardo joining us today on the podcast.
All right.
So
It looks like
there he is.
oxygen levels are okay for me to open my visor right now, but
Yeah,
I may have to close it in a little bit.
I'm sure my audio sounds like crap with this thing too. But happy
It,
Halloween,
it
everybody!
looked
It
lovely.
is. It is Halloween. Trevor was busy, so Ricardo jumped in here last minute. Came down off the ISS, and now he is here. It's landed safely. Maybe it was Elon Musk's rocket that landed you, huh?
Yeah, I was hanging out in the Tesla that's out there circling the Earth. There is a Tesla circling the Earth, right?
There is. They shot one
I
out,
believe
right?
so. I believe so. Yeah.
Huh.
Or maybe it's not circling the Earth. It's just going out into outer space. But yeah,
Yeah. So, I told Ricardo we're just
happy to
pretty
be here.
natural about how we jump on the conversations and just have fun with it. So that said, I got to take this mask off. I cannot, I
I
can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, it's messing with my
All right.
mustache and my nose.
This
Uh,
is my daughter's astronaut helmet. It's actually really tight, so I'm gonna take mine off too.
at first I thought it was like an F1 helmet or something.
Oh man, okay, that's better.
Don't you have an F1 helmet for when you
Uh,
race at
Not
home?
an F1 helmet. If I had one of those, it'd be on the shelf in my little Ayrton Senna altar that I have. So
Right on. So we got a handful of things to chat about today. We're just kind of get into it. I wanted to do something fun out of a crappy situation. So we actually had in my front yard a handful of Halloween decorations stolen by some punk ass kids a couple nights ago. They hit a couple other neighbors down the street. I ended up going on the news, which was super freaking awkward. I don't know, dude. Have you ever done a interview with the news at all for anything?
not like what you did. One time I was at a coffee shop and they were interviewing people. It was a coffee shop where they was more of a bakery where they filmed Cake Boss. Remember that show,
Okay.
Cake
Yeah,
Boss?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was in New Jersey, and they were interviewing people coming through, and I was really excited to be interviewed. But once they came to me, I just froze. I was like,
I like cake.
so,
What are you doing in New Jersey?
oh man, that was we were there visiting a client actually.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that
must have been years ago
it's been a few years. Yeah,
when you actually go fly out and see clients, which is very
when we
rare
actually
these days,
visited clients in person. Yes,
right? Wow.
it's been a
Yeah.
while.
So the kids came through and robbed a couple of the houses. I had my Ring camera on, so I got like a super high def. They were a smash and grab job. It was like 20, 30 seconds. So, but I noticed some really funny behaviors of some of these kids. I want to kind of break it down. So let me get the screen share going on this.
Oh, I
Um,
love this.
and and let me see if I can get the screen share going up right on this. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna go full screen there, and then okay, let's see. I want to do share presentation or screen. I think presentation's better. No, that's not it. Share screen. Okay, and we'll do entire screen, and we'll hit this button. There is the right one. Okay, cool. So now we should be screen sharing, and it looks horrible. Let me pull up the video. All right, you should be able to see it, right, Ricardo?
Yeah, I can see
All right,
your
cool. So we're
Slack.
gonna. All right, cool. So yeah, it should be the Slack ring. Okay, so we're just gonna hit this thing, play through. This is in front of my house, so everybody can see this. Oh, the audio's coming through my computer. So,
I'm seeing your Slack screen right now,
oh
not the
really?
video. Yeah,
Okay, that's not good. Like our full screen Slack, like of
yeah.
all of our conversations with clients.
It was just in your DM with me, so
Oh,
you know,
weird. Okay,
yeah.
that didn't work. Let me figure out why that is. Let's screen share again. It's so weird. How about a window? Does that work?
Now I can see your ring. Yeah.
Okay, weird. Okay. Well, if you have anything exclusive in there editing, I'll pull that out. But anyways. All right, so let's watch this thing. All right, let me go back. All right, here we go. So we got 4 guys.
So you got 4 guys and they're just charging into your front yard.
Yeah, it's 3:00 in the morning. I didn't even wake up. They were so fast.
Oh, and they got that one guy from what's that guy's name?
Oogie Boogie from
Oogie
Nightmare
Boogie.
Before
Yeah,
Christmas.
man. I love Oogie
So
Boogie.
that was the end of it. So let's break it down of 1, 2, and 3 and 4 guys, like, and watch what they do the whole time. So number 1 guy, this guy over here, this guy runs straight for Oogie Boogie, man. He knew
Yeah.
exactly what he was going to get. He's like, I'm going beeline straight from the car to Oogie Boogie. And he finally jacks it and just takes off. That thing's got cord. So, like, at this moment, he's like, oh, no. Oh,
So
no.
he's
Oh,
ripping it, huh?
oh, he's just ripping it out
Yeah.
from the cords. I mean, look at that spin move, man. Like,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
agile, I would say. Good white
Yeah.
shoes, probably athletic in that sense. And then straight into the back of the truck. It's got so much stuff.
So, yeah, I thought about this last night. Next time we got to duct tape an air tag deep inside Oogie Boogie.
That is, I've got air tags now on a couple different things. And then my dad's going to teach me how to electrify things as well.
Ooh, yes.
All right, let's go to number 2. Actually, no, I'm going to wait. Number 2 is pretty good. So number 2 is the guy right here running across. Wait, no. Yeah, okay, we'll call him number 2. This guy, I think he might have been the ringleader because he's pretty fast on it. He goes back behind and he actually grabs one of my blow-ups. It rips it straight out of the ground. So he's kind of there for a while. So I think that's what kind of kept him busy because he only comes away with that small blow-up that comes off across and then throws it in. So I think he was a bit of the ringleader.
So did they damage the electrical cords too in the process, or did they actually get them unplugged?
They just
clean?
ran so fast that they just popped them right off. So nothing was damaged in that sense.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at this guy here, right here in these white shoes.
Okay.
Wow, they're all matching. It's pretty amazing. All right,
That
so let's watch this guy. This guy's probably one of my top 2 of the funniest events. So this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm gonna play it real time. He's sitting here. He's like, oh, I'm going to grab this. This is the Beetlejuice headstone. So he took that. It falls. There's like these 2 small things down here of headstones that he takes. And then he's looking. He's like, what else do I grab? I don't know what to grab. He's looking around. And then he comes over here looking to grab something else. I don't even know what he's trying to grab. And then just takes off.
Gives up on it. Yeah. That's the guy that's probably like the good kid of the group and he shouldn't be there that night.
Yeah.
His friends convinced him to do this. Yeah.
100%, man. He was like, oh no, what do I do? Like this move here. He's like, I'm looking. I don't know what to take.
Oh man.
All right. So then the dumb guy in the group is this last one we'll look at. So it does look like if we hit it right away, they try to maybe pull this up off the ground, but he doesn't get it. So he goes straight to the gravestones. His friend's grabbing him way too quick, which I think is the ringleader. Now watch this. Wait, did you see that? So watch what he picks up. He picks up right there. You can't really see it too well, but it's a PVC pipe that I put over the rebar I put on the ground so people don't impale themselves. So he took a piece of PVC pipe from us. And then look at this next move. He tried to grab the rebar next.
Wow.
Really wants to take rebar with him. Okay. And then he's like, let's grab another pipe. As you can see, it kind of slides off. And he's like, oh, wait, that's a pipe. Oh, look at me. I'm a jerk off. Not the smartest one in the group. Wow. And then literally grabbed 2 headstones, tombstones, and that was it.
Man.
So that was my Tuesday. Well, I guess
sorry, man. That's
Wednesday
disappointing.
Morning. Is that Wednesday morning? It was Tuesday morning, whatever the day it was. I was up at 4:00 in the morning after that point because I had gotten up to go to the bathroom and I looked at my phone and I saw like alerts that have happened. And the first alert was actually my friend posting on the neighborhood kind of section and Ring saying she got robbed.
So
I
it
didn't
was
know
on
it was
the actual
her.
Ring app that she posted.
Yeah, so she posted on the Ring app that her house got robbed. I didn't know it was her at the time because everything's anonymous. And I'm looking at the video feed. I'm like, first I see the location. I'm like, oh, okay, that's like right next to my house because they kind of anonymize where it's at. And then I see the video, which she had uploaded a video of not the robbers, but her actual Halloween stuff from like a previous clip earlier because she didn't get them on camera. And then I was like, oh, no. They got me, I bet. And I pulled up my live Ring cam and I was like, oh, yeah, there's missing stuff. Oh. And only then I went backwards and I saw that I had alert that was at around 3:00 that I just didn't wake up for. I had my phone on vibrate, so I didn't hear it. But, dude, even if I got out there, if there's 4 guys, I'm not going to discharge a weapon on them in the front yard. Like, dude, conflict is never going to be a good thing in that kind of situation.
Right. So. Yeah. It's not worth it. but it's a very frustrating. Maybe a baseball bat would have come in handy.
Yeah, I got a crowbar, baseball bat, and a really bright
There you go.
flashlight. I mean, I have to run out there in my skivvies, though. That's the only way that's
Yeah,
going to happen. Like,
that's how you do it.
It's funny when I go to bed, I try to put like a shirt and pants and some shoes, like my Crocs, next to bed. So if I got to get out, but now, screw it. I'm just going out there in my underwear and a flashlight and a crowbar. That's enough to scare people.
Yeah, dude, that would be scary. Now, here's a question. Could we develop an AI application that has an API connection or something into your Ring system so that when there's an activity happening that's very unusual like that, it recognizes, okay, there are 4 bodies running in my front yard at 3 a.m. This is not
highly
normal.
Suspicious. Yeah.
So turn the lights on, put in an audio, I don't know, something, get out of here. Like just an AI voice even. So they think it's you watching them. I'm calling the police. And
Dude,
it's just
that's
all
a
automated.
really good idea. That's a really, really good idea because, I mean, I have obviously like any Ring system, like they open up any of the doors, things that I have set for it, the alarm will go off. But like a motion sensor, it's like, what are you going to do with that every single time? And there's a lot of false positives that happen with Rings. Anybody that owns Rings knows that there's a lot of false positives. But yeah, you pipe in the algorithm, like the time of day, the amount of bodies that are there. They have all that data crunching. So yeah, what would have been awesome is that a voice goes off and all my lights turn on and my alarm goes off. I don't care if there's 4 individuals in my front yard. I probably should have the alarm go off anyways to wake me up if I'm in a deep sleeper. Like, why not have that happen? That's a great idea.
Yeah. So there you go, Ring. People from Ring. Take notes.
Yeah. I'm going to clip this part just like, we got to get Ring to get into this because honestly, that's a great idea. Even if it's just a voice command, not even the whole like dramatic, like every single alarm goes off. That would be fantastic because you can do it where now someone rings your doorbell and you have an automated reply, right? That says, hey, this is me, so-and-so. And
then you're going to have the whole like jailbreak market of Ring cameras where people actually put in the sound of like a machine gun going off or something,
It'd be worth it.
Not sponsored by Ring, but hey, somebody figured out how to do it. And you get these guys just, crawling back to their truck.
Because I mean, I think the AI would be able to recognize it pretty quick, right? They know when it's a human. It's like, hey, human is detected, but it's like there's 4. It's at 3 o'clock at night. You should probably know, what's going on. And they could probably decipher that they're wearing all black as well. Not like
there's some
normal
telltale signs there.
So that's a great idea. Okay.
Yeah. So I did a little Googling right before we started recording here, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I found a stat that says that homes without security systems are up to 300% more likely to be broken into, which really freaked me out because I don't have security systems set up in my house. I've always been of the belief that, I'll just put a fake camera up so it looks like I have it. But, I don't really need a real camera. I've been a little freaked out of the Ring and privacy and whatnot.
Sure. No, I understand that.
But I think I'm going to rethink that now.
Yeah, I think these guys didn't stay as long at my property because all the lights went on. They triggered it. And so you could kind of see them speed up their process. Some of the neighbors, they had spent a couple of minutes taking stuff down. It wasn't just a quick snatch and grab. I mean, sure, they were quick, but they were there for a longer period of time. So even like floodlight illumination, that can deter. And I live on a spot that's pretty bright already. So it's pretty bold that these guys are just going to come out because there's a street lamp right there. So my whole yard is lit up without any of my Halloween stuff or my floodlights that go off. So yeah, maybe it prevented them from stealing more than that they could have. I mean, like I said, this clip is 20 seconds long. That's as long as that they were there. So even for me to time to get out of my bedroom, through the house, out there, dude, that's like 15 seconds maybe. So I catch the tail end of them running away.
Yeah, that's a smash and grab.
Should have used my crossbow and shoot their car.
Oh,
and
man.
Get their tire.
Just go for the leg. Just go for a leg,
Yeah, but there's some crazy stuff, especially living in California as far as self-defense or not self-defense. You got to be super mindful about injuring someone, even on your property.
Yeah.
There's been some horror stories.
Even inside of your house.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
I was talking to my brothers, the firefighters, like, dude, if you're ever in a situation that you feel like you're going to discharge a firearm in your house, let alone even assault someone in your house with something else, be on 911 so they have it recorded and say that your life is, you feel
Yeah.
that your life is threatened. That is a great way to kind of tone down some of the liability.
Yeah. A few years ago, I took a gun safety course, and they walked us through that whole process. You're supposed to, they have to be coming towards you, facing you. You're supposed to let them
Yes.
know, like give them 3 warnings, like
Is it
that.
3 warnings?
It,
I
that's
can
what I
see that.
remember. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. Maybe let's say 1 warning that, that you're afraid for your life and you're going to shoot them. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. Leave my house now or I'm going to
Yeah.
shoot you. And they take a step forward facing you. Then I think self-defense is, yeah, but hey,
You're gonna be
don't
okay.
quote me on that.
Yeah. And we're ain't no lawyers here.
No.
So yeah, I did definitely get on the news with this. It was kind of interesting because they had reached out to one of the neighbors that got robbed because they were basically monitoring like the neighborhood apps, which is good for like local news reports,
Yeah.
kind of see what's going on. So they had reached out to her, eventually reached out to me because they gave them consent to do so because I wanted to kind of get the story out there a little bit. They did a whole quick 2-minute clip. I think I interviewed the guy with them for like 15 minutes, super awkward, but they used like I think 20 seconds of my voice, maybe max, or at my house. It's just
Yeah.
such a produced thing. But it was kind of interesting to see that production from start to finish of how they did it. But I did make sure, I did a LinkedIn post about it. I made sure I was wearing, most importantly, the Collective 42 hat on. And I had my brother's sweatshirt for his blind shop out in Michigan. I mean, just
Yeah.
kind of funny. I was like, I'm just going to put as many logos as possible. My buddy that owns Dirty Birds, I'm like, dude, if I had a Dirty Bird shirt, I'd have it like underneath. Like, here we go. We got logo placement. We're good. Just make sure you get this in frame,
Yeah.
for it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There was the same truck actually was up in Carmel Mountain Ranch that same night earlier, and they did another news story on that, and they had a clip of the truck as the same truck. So it's like they're around.
Wow.
But
Okay.
knowing that they're like 30 minutes apart from me, like that's a pretty big difference to do a snatch and grab job in one night. It's like, are they going to sell these things? I don't think they're going
Yeah.
to sell it and make much money. And I've looked at all the offer ups in the Facebook marketplaces. You can't sell it right now. It's way too hot merchandise. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
next year they sell it, but I don't think they're going to have a whole closet full or storage unit of couple. I mean, it's probably about $1,000 in my house,
Yeah.
1,500 at hers. What are they going to do with this? The other idea that it was college students, they're going to have a party this weekend because it's Halloween weekend, and they wanted to jack a bunch of decorations, put them in the house, maybe like a frat house or something like that. Not to, bash on frat boys too much, and like have a party and like look at all my decoration. But it's out there on the news. It's been seen. Our boy Fumi, shout out to you, Fumi. He hit me up. He's got a powerful Reddit account. He dropped it on the San Diego thread. It's got our San Diego. It had like over 160, 170 comments, I think. Good amount of views. I think almost 1,000
Nice.
views. I mean, the comments were fucking mostly shit talk, trashing. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
One of them was like, "What did this guy give out apples last year for Halloween?" I'm like, "That's good. I like it." So it got pushed there. 10 News pushed it out on all their social media, and there's comments. That alone on Facebook had like 16 or 17 reshares of comments. So it's like it's definitely out there in the community. So maybe if someone is
Yeah.
attending this party and kind of sees it and they're going to be associated with that, it's like, man,
Yeah.
it's just, dude, karma's going to get them. That's
Yeah.
my thing,
Yeah.
dude. Their mom and dad didn't hug them enough, and they are going to have karma come back at them hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I believe that 100%. Yeah. Even if nothing happens the conventional way, it's gonna come around. It's gonna come around.
Oh, 100%. All right, so enough about my drama. Let's talk about some stuff that came out this week. It was a big earnings week for a lot of the tech companies. So let me rattle off a couple headlines here that I saw. So what is it? Alphabet reported. Let me see how much they reported up. So Alphabet reported up better than expected with over $88 billion in revenue. So they beat their forecast. Meta saw a 19% climb, from 34 billion to 46 billion year over year. Microsoft revenue jumped 17%, which LinkedIn revenue increased 10%. Search and news advertising revenue climbed 12%. So, the big players that, we work with on the advertising perspective all had amazing earnings this quarter. I've got some ideas around that, but that's the intro to the story.
Do share. Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
I mean, what's going on in the marketplace and as we approach November of 2024?
It happens every 4 years, right?
Is it the Olympics?
World Cup?
World Cup? No, it's not.
No. The good old presidential elections.
Yes. And there's a whole lot of cash being doled out by those campaigns. It's kind of gross, actually, how much money goes into advertising from the political campaigns. And these are ads that, at least I'm a little skeptical. Obviously, I work in the industry, but I've always felt that way about political ads. These are not things that I enjoy seeing. I'm usually, I make a face when a political ad comes on, whether it's for my party or candidate or the other. It's not really something that I thrive on, watching political ads. But man, I guess they work, right? There's just a lot of money going in.
I'm pulling up the Google Ads Transparency Center, and I guess we could look at like the last quarter, which I don't know if it would be August to today. But I mean, it's the last 3 months. So we could see how much was actually spent. You click on this insight tag. Dude, take a guess. Take a guess of what you think was spent in the last 3 months on political ads in the United States alone, from August 1st to August 31st.
I don't think I could guess. It's so much that it's just not comprehensible to me. I don't know. Is it in billions? Is it in the billions?
I think it'd be under $1 billion.
Okay.
I think it'd be under $1 billion.
I don't know. Okay. Let's say 50. Under $1 billion. I don't know. I'm just 200 million. Is that?
Okay, so Ricardo's got 200 million.
I'll go 200.
I know it's going to be higher than that from
under?
Other stuff. I'm going over. I'm going over by about triple. I think it's 600 million.
Okay.
Maybe even close to $1 billion. So let's see. This is just
Google. I would have just thrown billion out there before, but yeah.
Let's see. Okay. $536 million just on political ads the last 3 months. And if you look at the time span, look how this ramps up like crazy. We're in August, on a daily, maybe it's about 3 mil or so a day. $3 million, dude. That's not much, right? Just 3 mil. To, as of yesterday, spending about $15 million in one single day across. I mean, this does include YouTube and search. But I think that would impact revenue goals and projections
a little bit, right? Yeah,
so
I think that'd make a dent somewhere.
This is on top of normal advertisers.
Just Google, and we're just talking about Google.
Just Google. Google. This is YouTube and search.
It's in the billions then, because if you bring in the other platforms, you bring in just TV and everything else.
Oh yeah, but dude, we're talking billions of dollars, and it's like that's what it takes to win. Like, I just imagine what that money could be going to, or like people have this fuck you money to go spend it. I mean, it's not individual people, right? There's a lot of PACs, and sure, individual people do contribute, but man, that's just wild to me. That much money, is being spent on political ads to influence the machine of individuals. What's interesting too, if you look at where it's being spent, I mean, these are who is being spent. I'm not going to get into which candidacy or who it is that is spending more than others in comparison. But it's pretty transparent if you look at some of these PACs. But the territories, right? They always say like the election's won in the swing states because of the electoral college.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, look at this. Pennsylvania leads it at $75 million spent. Michigan, $62 million. California's interesting
Huh.
that
Yeah.
there's that much, um, which is weird. But then you get another swing state of Wisconsin. Ohio traditionally was a swing state, but not right now. Arizona. So yeah,
And it's not all presidential. You're going to have a lot of budget going into local measures, local candidates as well. But good amount of it is going to be presidential.
yeah. I've actually got a lot more local politic ads than I've seen in a while
Yeah.
on like my Instagram feed for people running, which has been interesting.
Yeah. I don't think the presidential candidates bother with advertising in California. So we end up probably with a lot more local based
Yeah, you would think
advertising.
so for sure. I wonder what
But
happens if I go in that and see. Yeah, let's see if I click on California,
but of
California
course, that's
Apartment
a blanket
Association.
statement. I'm sure they are spending a ton of money in
Yeah,
California
but
too.
no, there
But
are some things around apartment and rent control that's going
mhm,
on. So you can
yeah,
see like, yeah, they spent 12 millions. But yeah, even just here, you can see that it's mostly issue based that are spending mostly um, in the state of California. I mean, you could dial. I mean, this is the one thing I do love of how transparent Google is with this data that they're sharing with us. I mean, it's great to have, but I would rather not have political ads or some sort of cap system
yeah, yeah.
on it, just because that money can be used elsewhere for good. Um, it's just imagine if you had that much money going into your next election. It's like that's the money that you could like kind of like roll over into doing some new initiative. Um, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge amount when you think of, federal government. It's still a lot of money. For sure. You can definitely do some real cool projects that will impact a lot of people. But speaking of what you're saying, putting a cap on that, growing up in Brazil, one of the things that I remember from my childhood when it was election time is you get this specified hour or 2 hours on TV every night, or maybe it was a couple of nights a week, where it's political campaigning. It's a political campaigning hour, and every
Interesting.
candidate gets the same amount of time. You can just turn off the TV. That's what we did at our house. We just, we can't watch our soap operas now, or the news or whatever. We're going to turn it off, play a board game or whatever. But if you were interested and you wanted to see what these guys had to say, you left it on, and they all had, maybe the presidential candidates got 15 minutes each, and then the senators get 10, and the governors and then the mayors get 5, and all the way down to the municipal people for your region, and they all got the same amount of time. And you had the guys at the very end that all they could say is like their name and number or something, and they'd have little jingles and stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different. Yeah, it's a much different approach. But outside of that, on TV they couldn't advertise, so it was relegated to just that political hour, and
Wow.
it was cool. Uh, but it's a different system, right? It's not a super capital system in that way. So there's
I
parts of
like
it
the
that
idea. I've heard
make
of
sense.
that before. I think I've heard of that. Yeah, where they get like national airtime news to go through things, have the discussion, and that's where it's at. And I love the idea that you can turn it on or turn it off.
Yeah.
Um, it's like if you want to really dig into it or hear what they want to say, you can do that. Um, that's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. God, yeah, get rid of that and just like keep long form interviews. Like presidential candidates cannot go on TV shows and do like a 5 minute, 30-minute segment. I'd love to see longer form because then you can
Hmm.
kind of really draw out a little bit more of who they are. I think that's definitely going to be more of the future.
Yeah, I
That's
think you get a sense of actually seeing the person behind the candidate a lot more, because what happens on mainstream news is you just get the sound bites. You don't
yeah,
really get to see who they are as a leader, who they are as a human being, and those long form interviews like the Joe Rogans, for example, Lex Friedman's. All these guys that are very popular now. That they'll spend 2-3 hours with you. Can make a huge impact. I think there's such a big listening audience.
yeah.
Joe Rogan
It's
specifically, Trump was there about a week ago. He did a nearly 3-hour interview. I started listening to it. I haven't finished yet, but it's very interesting because you do get a different side of that person. He interviewed, I know a buddy of mine was telling me, well, he just handed it to Trump on a silver platter. I saw Joe Rogan interview Bernie Sanders before,
Yeah.
and other Democrat candidates as well. I think it's just a different type of interview. It's not an interview meant to get somebody fired up and, set a trap for them. It's really a conversation, so it does feel a lot easier in that sense. But I like being able to see how they are as just people too, whether or not I agree with their policies.
No, 100%. I agree with that. And it's funny, even in this whole like Halloween decoration stealing and talking to the news and just clipping it down to a soundbite, like it just kind of brings it full circle. We're like, dude, I talked to this guy for like 15 minutes. He asked me all the who, what, when, why, where, hows, stuff like, how did you feel about this? Why do you decorate? All these things. It didn't make the news.
Right.
Like, and I was trying to really tell my story. And that was kind of a little bit of hesitancy of being on the news because how it's like, I don't get a say in the final edit, and it was just a quick clip. I mean, it wasn't anything too bad or anything like that, but it's like they took 15 minutes and put it into a 15-second soundbite, I'm like, okay, I see how it works. Because it was only a 2-minute show there or clip that they sent. So it's like, all right. Yeah. Anyways, but circling back to like, hey, Meta, Microsoft, Google all saw large increases in revenue quarter. Politics for sure is going to be, a big part of that. One of the notes that I said in there was that Microsoft, LinkedIn revenue was a 10% increase, and even search and new advertising climbed for 12%. I think some people forget that Microsoft owned LinkedIn sometimes. So I mean, LinkedIn is always a solid place. I don't think they would be as much as I don't think I've ever seen political ads on LinkedIn. Have you?
I don't think I have. No,
I don't think so either. So I don't think they're really run on there much. I mean, that's only two people's thought. I mean, I haven't seen it much. But to know that even the, LinkedIn has increased quarter over quarter, I think it's becoming a more popular platform per se on the B2B side to market too. Obviously, we do that for some of our clients. So.
Yeah, LinkedIn is up to close to 1 billion users, members worldwide now. I mean, it's a platform in a growth trajectory right now.
Yeah, I was talking to Trevor. It's kind of like LinkedIn is now like, especially after COVID and stuff like that, where we're all kind of virtually working, especially mostly in our space. I mean, sure, there's still agencies that go into the office, etc., but it's such like an online community. And it becomes kind of like your old school, like Rolodex or your networking spot, and it's great because I'll do catch up with people on there that I haven't seen in a while or see what they're posting or what they're up to rather than going to like the meetup mixer. I know those still happen. But yeah, like my dad's generation never had anything like that. That was like, they would just network and stay in contact with people. They literally would have a Rolodex that they would sort through. I remember going through like Rolodexes at like my grandpa's house and even both grandparents. They always had the one had like the traditional style Rolodex, you kind of filtered through it. And I used to always go through and like, oh, this is kind of cool. All these business cards. And then more of a personal Rolodex. I remember my other grandparents, they had one where it's like you slide to the letter that you want. It's kind of very advanced for back in the day. You slide to the letter you want, and then you push this button and it would spring open the page. That is all, let's say, R's, ends with the last name R, and it's all handwritten in there. So it's kind of just like this mechanism of, holding the paper back for where it needs to be. I always got yelled at because I used to always hit it over and over again.
That's definitely something that the grandson will break at some point by
I think I
pushing the
did
button
break
over
it.
and over and over again.
I think I probably did break it. Yep. So they're making lots of money, lots of money going
Microsoft,
around.
they've got the cloud too. They've got Azure. They've got search. There's a whole gaming division too, right? We forget about Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
That's Microsoft too. That's all going into that revenue number, and it's pretty crazy. There's advertising happening in the gaming division as well. It's not as aggressive, of course, but there's a lot of games that you can actually buy programmatic ads on too.
I remember hearing about that a couple years ago. That would be interesting. I mean, for sure, like a branding play or something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, if you're Mountain Dew, just let's have a placement everywhere.
Yeah. It's a specific audience too, and you can't, you're not going to run political ads there, but
I mean, you could, man. I mean, actually, Yeah, I mean, you definitely could. You could see
Maybe
that like,
on like Sim City or something if they still have that game.
yeah, but you can be running around like a Call of Duty and like
Oh,
there's like a
Grand Theft
tagged
Auto.
mark, Grand Theft Auto, there's like a tagged mark up on like the side of the wall, vote for it, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
political signs.
Oh man.
That would be interesting for it all. But yeah, voting season is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I definitely anticipate it should be an interesting time period. We and Trevor talked about this previously about like maybe people are hesitant to buy based on a news story that came out. It wasn't necessarily true. It was mostly B2B kind of related. But we are definitely seeing some slower buying behavior with certain e-commerce clients. So I am very curious if that after the election year, we're going to see kind of that consumer interest come back in. It's shopping season too. So you can't just bake it on that like, hell, the election's over. People are willing to buy. Even if the election cycle went through all the way to January, people are going to be buying more, throughout November and
Yeah. In
December.
November, you have the whole Black Friday effect too, that as you get closer and closer to that, sales are going to go down as people are starting to wait and save to get the better deals. Do you
Yeah.
see that?
The wait and save it's an interesting one because I think it's all promotional based because I've seen some people start. There was an ad or I saw something on LinkedIn. I think it was like Mattress Train or one of the mattress companies. They already started their Black Friday, Cyber Monday like
Mm.
sale. So like some people are kind of doing earlier sales, like the whole month long is this. I don't know if it gives that same kind of emotional impact to go right away,
Yeah.
and it's kind of draw it out. So I think every industry is different on the way you promote it going through.
Hmm.
So um, we'll see. The one thing I do see is just conversion rates. I mean, it's super straightforward, but like conversion rates, especially in December. Like, dude, when you get to that no more shipping date cutoff, like, dude, your conversion rates are ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
people are just like, oh, I need to buy just the sake for buying, and I don't care. I need to get this
Yeah.
out. And so it's like your conversions rate just maybe an e-commerce conversion rate of like 2-3% is pretty good.
Like
You get
whatever
it to 5,
products you
6.
have that will get here
I've
on
seen them
time.
double digits, like dude, 12% conversion rate, and like traffic's at an all-time high. You're like, man, these people are desperate to buy. I would love to see Amazon's data because their
Oh,
shipping
wow. Yeah.
data is so pushed out, right? Because of their distribution centers.
Hmm.
And that's the whole reason why they became huge.
Yeah.
Is because of that, like what their conversion rate numbers look like leading up to that. And then it cuts off. And then you have that kind of peak that happens afterwards, right? You get a couple days of, okay, it's Christmas. A lot of people got gift cards or they got cash. And so then they go out and buy again. So there is a little bit of like a post Christmas purchase push that happens right between that and New Year's, that we definitely see. You do see some promotions with that too, coming across.
Yeah. Some New Year sales and such. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, I mean,
Wild.
pretty much most of the topics I wanted to touch base on today. You know, there
Yeah. I
was
think
another
you had
topic I didn't really,
a note
wasn't.
about uh,
Oh yeah, there
an
was that other
algorithm
story.
update, SEO update.
Yeah, I didn't dig into too much, but basically there's supposed to be another Google algorithm update specifically for SEO related things. Google said they will release a new algorithm update fairly soon. Um, this news came out of the Web Creator Summit Google hosted at Googleplex for a dozen or so content creators whose Google search rankings declined over the past year or so. One of the things that I pulled out of this was content may have not been the problem with their site, and they're telling people just to move forward.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, okay, so what was the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
According
was
to Danny
black
Sullivan, my
box.
content was not the issue when referring to the Mountain Weekly News. So don't let the HCU update make you automatically question your content. So if it wasn't the content, what was the issue? I mean, it was called the helpful content update. So I don't think it went as well as people were hoping.
Mhm.
Probably got to crack into this a bit more, but it sounded like it maybe backfired a little bit as far as like bring people in. All they want is their traffic back. And it's like, yeah, it didn't really work out as well from a PR stance.
And I wonder how the deployment of Gemini in search has had an impact on,
Like the AI overviews.
yeah, the AI overviews that you get more and more with the
We
more
are seeing more of.
question based searches, queries. But that's where a lot of that top funnel content used to come in handy, right? The blog posts and question based, you're trying to capture that long tail keyword. Now, a lot of those queries that, Google's kind of trying to give you the answer right there in the search results. You might not even scroll down to see the first result.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Which seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot, right? Because if people aren't motivated to give them more qualified content, that's also going to impact the AI results, and that's going to impact advertisers.
We'll have to see at what point, because they're crawling the content. Like, at what point do they not have new content? People stop creating this content for them to consume and put into the LLM. I don't think it will necessarily stop because people are going to be generating and it's probably going to be AI. So then all of a sudden the
Right.
AI overviews all serving AI content. It's like
AI is going to generate AI content. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh no. So I think that's definitely going to be a concern. Me and Trevor touched based on this a little bit, like last pod or the pod before, was like just user behaviors like that. That's what I think you have to worry about. Not necessarily like the layout of the SERPs, but if someone moves away from Google, they're going to go to ChatGPT instead or Perplexity or using elsewhere. That's something you kind of have to monitor, but it's difficult to do. But it is a bit of the Wild West of where it's going to go. But right now, still people are using Google to find things for it. So we'll keep our ears on the ground.
They still keep the
out.
lion's share of the search, right? They're still the giant in search.
Yeah,
so
they're still the juggernaut,
I don't see that
especially on the
changing
mobile
anytime
side.
soon. I'm not saying forever, but yeah.
I thought Bing might have picked up faster because they were kind of a faster market mover with the AI, but it didn't really do what I was hoping as far as volume because, like I've said plenty of times, I want to have multiple places to do ads for, especially search ads, and not just be solely reliant on one platform. I think having some diversity would be good because, as you can see by Google's revenue numbers, they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'd like to spread that out a little bit and find those better fishing holes for our clients and our own stuff. Because it can be frustrating. Like, we don't even advertise in Google for our own stuff because it's just way too expensive.
It's gotten so expensive. Yeah.
Like, ridiculous. Bing is still profitable. And we've got some experiments going on there. But yeah, maybe we should do a podcast where we just open up like what we're doing on the marketing side. Because I've baited it a little bit or dropped some notes on it during the podcast for the last 3 months or so. But I think it would be cool, especially if we move into the beginning of the year and we start seeing some success. Dude, I have no problem sharing this because I definitely feel the mentality of like, what is it, rising tide lifts all boats. Like, we're just trying to figure this out. And it's like,
yeah,
are we inviting more competitors to copy exactly what we do? Yeah, maybe there's a potential for that. But I think that as like an agency owner or a consulting firm owner or doing digital marketing, you're always curious like where you get your leads outside your referral network, what actually works.
Yeah, and the information is already out there. It takes somebody to actually get it done. So if you're sharing something that inspires somebody, well, maybe they'll share something back that will help us out. So that's the intention behind it.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I think that's a good place to end the podcast. I appreciate you coming on. Man. I know it was last minute.
My pleasure.
We're going to hopefully keep this. It helps us keep on our schedule. We'll definitely have to get Trevor on and do the three of us. We definitely want to have more invites on out. And I'm pretty sure podcasts, I should know these things. Trevor's so way better at this. Podcasts are dropping consistently every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm pretty sure that's it. So if I got that wrong, it is on Thursdays, though. I'll be dropping that. And I do drop some clips before that, some shorts specifically on the YouTube channel before that to kind of preview some of it. And that's been going okay. But thanks for joining, man. So when we get off, don't close the browser. Just hit the I'll hit the leave button and we'll be good to go here and we'll stop recording.
Sounds good.
Don't close your browser.
All right. You got